I'm going to guide us through a quick tapping sequence to help let go of grief, which can be a pretty difficult emotion to actually process. And I recommend to be really gentle with yourself if you're going through grief at all. So if it feels like you're not quite ready to approach it or look at it yet, you can maybe try other techniques, like I've got another video that uses gentle techniques, so you could try that one if you really want to look at it anyways, or just be gentle with yourself and let yourself go through things naturally instead of trying to rush through it. So this video is more intended for someone that is looking to actually deal with it and look at it in more depth and is feeling ready and comfortable with that. So what I'd like you to do is just think of whatever you're grieving, and it could be a person, place, thing, pet, whatever. And just as you think of this thing that you're grieving, tune into your body and see what's there for you. You might notice kind of like an emptiness or hollow feeling in your chest, or maybe a heaviness throughout your whole body. Just see what's there for you. And then we'll start tapping on the side of the hand. Even though I'm feeling all this grief, I'm open to loving and accepting myself. Even though I'm feeling all this grief, I'm open to loving and accepting myself. Even though I'm feeling all this grief, I'm open to loving and accepting myself anyways. And tap the top of the head. I'm feeling all this grief. Tap the eyebrow. I'm feeling all this grief. Tap the side of the eye. All this grief. Tap under the eye. Feeling all this grief for this thing. Tap under the nose. And I'm not quite sure if I could ever let go of this grief. Tap under the lips and just check in if that feels true for you at all. Tap on the collarbone. I don't know if I could let go of this grief ever. Tap under the arm. I feel like it keeps me connected to the thing that I'm grieving, maybe. Tap on the top of the head and just notice if that feels true for you at all. Tap on the eyebrow. If I was able to let go of this grief, then I might not be as connected to this thing. Tap on the side of the eye. So I don't know if I'd be ready to let go of this grief. Tap under the eye. I might need to hold on to this grief. Tap under the nose so that I can stay connected to this thing. Tap under the lips. And I'm feeling all this grief. All this grief that helps me feel connected. Tap under the arm. And it kind of helps me remember the fun things or the good things about this thing that I'm grieving. Tap on the top of the head and notice if that is an aspect of your grief. Tap on the eyebrow. This grief seems like it's helping me remember good times and be nostalgic. Tap on the side of the eye. And if I didn't have this grief, I don't know that I could have that nostalgia either. Tap under the eye. So I don't know if I can let go of this grief. Tap under the nose. I might need to hold on to this grief. Tap under the lips. This grief might be really useful for me for remembering some good things in my life. Tap on the collarbone. I don't know if I can even fully feel the grief that's there for me. Tap under the arm. There's almost a part of me that feels a little bit weak for having this grief and wanting to express it. Tap on the top of the head and just check in if that's true for you in any way. And tap on the eyebrow. Part of me feels kind of weak for wanting to express this grief and feel it. Tap on the side of the eye. So maybe it's safer to just keep it inside. Tap under the eye so that I don't seem weak. Tap under the nose. It might be safer to keep this grief inside. Tap under the lips. I don't want to seem weak. And tap on the collarbone. And I'm a little afraid of what might happen if I really can feel this grief. Tap under the arm. I'm afraid it might interfere with my life. And tap on the top of the head and just check in if that feels true for you in your situation. Tap on the eyebrow. I know I have to keep going on with my life, and I don't want this grief to stop that. Tap on the side of the eye. I don't want to get caught up in this grief and have to stop living my life because of it. Tap under the eye. So I'm really afraid to feel it. Tap under the nose. I'm afraid to let myself feel this grief fully. Tap under the lips. I'm afraid to let myself feel this grief. Tap on the collarbone. But I still have this grief inside. Tap under the arm. Feeling all this grief. Tap on the top of the head. And I wonder if I could just allow myself to feel it for just a little while without it ruining my life. Tap on the eyebrow. That would be kind of good. Tap on the side of the eye and kind of different. Tap under the eye. Oh, I'd like to be able to just feel this grief for a little bit. Tap under the nose. Feels really sad. Tap under the lips, and it feels like something's missing. And tap on the collarbone and just notice what's there for you as far as what you're feeling with the grief. Tap under the arm. You might feel almost like an emptiness. Tap on the top of the head, or it might feel like something is incomplete in some way. Tap on the eyebrow. It might feel really heavy. Tap on the side of the eye. Just notice what's there for you. Tap under the eye. I feel all this grief. Tap under the nose. All this grief that I don't want to feel or let go of. Tap under the lips. I feel all this grief. Tap on the collarbone. Feeling all this grief. Tap under the arm. Feeling all this grief. Tap on the top of the head. All this heavy grief. Tap on the eyebrow and all this sadness. Side of the eye. This emptiness. This loneliness. Tap under the eye. This incompletion. Tap under the nose. This something missing. Tap under the lips. All this grief. And tap on the collarbone. I almost can't even imagine my life without this grief. Tap under the arm. I'd like to try, but it just seems impossible. Tap on the top of the head. Can't really imagine my life without this grief. And tap on the eyebrow. I'd like to be open to seeing what it might be like. Tap on the side of the eye, even though that seems not possible at all. Tap under the eye, or maybe it's possible. Tap under the nose. No, it's not. This grief has been with me for so long. Tap under the lips. I don't think I could ever let go of it and see my life without it. Tap on the collarbone, or maybe I can. Tap under the arm, and whether I can or whether I can't, either way I'd like to be okay and just accept myself as I am. Alright, take a nice deep breath. And then just check back in. Think of whatever it is that you've been grieving in your life, and just notice what's going on in your body now as you think about this thing. You might notice that things feel lighter or more complete in a way, and that the energy has shifted, or you might also notice that you're a little more in touch with what the grief actually feels like. So you could try tapping through the video again with that in mind and focus on what it feels like. You can also try another video that I have with a technique for sneaking away if for some reason you can't work with that grief right now and don't have time to do so, and that can help you to put that aside and go on with your day. Grief can be really difficult to work through, so I really recommend being gentle with yourself and also getting help with that if you need to.